Good evening and welcome to TVM-News. Today is Wednesday, March 8th. I'm Alex Weidner.
And I'm Kaitlin Korgeski.
The Marywood community has another source of news at its fingertips. The New York Times is now available for free to students, faculty, and staff when they sign up with their Marywood email account. The Campus Learning Commons is behind the effort to provide the community with access to new information. Last week, the library hosted a representative from the New York Times to help introduce the service and promote its use on campus. The Woodward reports that the service is proving popular so far.
Artists, designers, and architecture students now have the opportunity to showcase their talents and also to potentially make some extra cash. The showcase event will be held on April 1st in the Architecture Building Gallery. Anyone interested can fill out the Google form, which can be found on Marywood's website.
The Learning Commons staff and the Pacers for Justice and Peace teamed up last week to promote peace here on campus. Members of the Marywood community could stop by a station on the first floor of the Learning Commons and help the group assemble 1,000 paper cranes. In Japan, paper cranes are associated with wishes. The group plans to send 500 cranes each to Senators Bob Casey and Pat Toomey to help promote their cause of peace.
Graduating seniors in all majors can apply for the Creative Writing Medal to wear at graduation. For consideration, students must submit 10 typed creative pieces involving poetry, prose, or drama with a cover letter attached. Journalistic pieces are excluded. All entries are due to the English department by this Friday at noon.
The local chapter of the Food and Water Watch is holding another forum this month. Under the tagline, Protect the EPA, the forum will be about advocacy for the environmental protection. The forum will be held at Temple Hesed, a local Jewish synagogue, on March 16th. Recently, the Food and Water Watch has been conducting events in the Scranton area and promoting their cause here on campus in order to help the EPA.
If you saw anyone wearing red today, it is to mark the International Holiday of Women's Day, embarking on gender equality through recognizing the success of women in social, economic, cultural, and political viewpoints. The day originally was celebrated in February in 1909 with 15,000 women marching in New York, demanding better wages, shorter hours, and voting rights. We'll be right back with Carly with what entertainment and events are happening at Marywood now, right after this short break.
Welcome back to TVM News. Let's check in with Carly now for the latest entertainment and events happening here on campus.
The Hindu culture, throwing colors, celebrates the start of spring. Student Activities Crew held the Holly Color Festival in the Logren Hall parking lot on Sunday, March 5th at 1 p.m. Students were supplied with Ziploc bags of different colors, sunglasses to protect their eyes from the color, and white t-shirts to catch the color. Those involved were given a brief summary of the event's backgrounds and then were let out to throw the colors. The most anticipated competitive game of the semester is back for year 3, The Quest. The game shows styles search for crazy and random items. Tonight, students can make teams of 5 or less and try to find crazy items. One clear sandwich bag of random items is allowed per team. This event is happening today at 8 p.m. in the Latour Room. There are 15 individual prizes and 1 team prize of Apple Watches for all team members. The Marywood Music, Theater, and Dance programs put on a Godspell performance on March 3rd and March 4th. TVM News and Zukowski has the story.
This past weekend, the Marywood Music, Theater, and Dance Department hit a high note with the musical production of Godspell. The story of Godspell, based on the 2012 modernized version, tells the story of Jesus' resurrection and his teachings to the community members. Director and professor of Marywood, Chuck Gordon, said that the musical has the same plot and songs as the original, just modernized and relatable to today's audience.
It's really not even so much about the idea of the resurrection, the afterlife, as much as it is about the building of communities. And the fact that, we begin with all these different philosophers arguing different points of view about existence and God and mankind and how it all is supposed to work together.
The production's cast expressed a lot of energy, dancing, improv, and crowd participation. One cast member, Jade Lideker, who played one of Jesus' disciples, said the show is a lot of fun and is different from other productions.
Definitely the improv. You have to be quick and you have to be high energy all the time. Along with that, you have to know every song. I've been in productions here where it's you know, you only have to know your stuff and then you get to go off stage. With this, it's like you're on stage the whole time and you have to know your stuff and other harmonies. So it's definitely been a challenge, but I've really enjoyed it.
Reporting for TVM News, I'm Zukowski.
Marywood students had the chance to show off their dancing skills last Thursday. TVM's Rachael has more.
Students showcased their dancing skills in a student activities crew dance battle for cash prizes.
The judges behind me watched students perform at the Dancing with the Students dance battle held in the Fireplace Lounge on Thursday night.
The step team and dance team performed 2 numbers in the freestyle and hip-hop categories. The dance team came in first place and won a $300 cash prize. The step team won $200, coming in second place. SAC member Michael Plate explained that SAC co-member Imani Kirkman came up with the idea for the event.
The idea was to get a bunch of people to show off their talent in a way that's not singing or a talent show kind of thing, more of like a dance battle. So we're kind of doing it with like the theme of Dancing with the Stars with the judges.
Students also participated in independent or partner battles to win a $50 cash prize. Assistant Director of Annual Giving, Rose Jaklinski, said she enjoyed judging the performances.
They were very creative. It was definitely a team effort, and I think for our first one, I believe this is the first one we've ever had on campus, I think it's a decent turnout.
Step team members Maciel Velez and Brianna Rivera performed during the dance battle.
Even if you don't know how to dance, I still think it's fun to just go with your friends and just have fun.
And I mean, like, it's good to like see like Marywood events, especially like for residents. There's nothing much to do here, so yeah, this is pretty cool.
For TVM News, I'm Rachael Looker.
Just a few more days until spring break. It will start March 11th and end March 19th. Students will have a chance to get a break from school and go home to see their friends and families. Enjoy your break, everyone. That's all I have for this week's Happening at Marywood Now.
Coming up, we'll have the latest on the Republicans' health care plan, a 5-year-old competing in the National Spelling Bee, and more right after this break.
Welcome back to TVM News. A teenager in North Carolina has been charged with murder. Police outside of Raleigh responded to a 911 call made by the suspect, who is now in custody. When they arrived at the scene, the body of a woman was found decapitated. Also at the home were 2 young girls who are alive and okay. Neither the suspect or victim were named, but family members have been notified.
President Donald Trump signed a new travel ban order. The new ban affects now 6 predominantly Muslim countries instead of the original 7, which now excludes Iraq. Trump's cabinet members said at the press conference, Iraq is an important ally in the fight to defeat ISIS. The new order is notifying people ahead of time by going into effect March 16th. It will expire after 90 days. CNN's Diane Gallagher has more.
Call it Travel Ban 2.0. The revised version of that controversial executive order that prompted massive protests at airports and has been hung up in court ever since was signed by the president in private today, a stark contrast from the fanfare that surrounded previous executive orders signed by the president. This time around, President Trump let his cabinet members do the talking.
Today's executive order, which President Trump signed this morning, will make America more secure and address long overdue concerns about the security of our immigration system.
Now, perhaps the biggest difference, restrictions affect travelers from 6 Muslim-majority countries now, not the original 7. Iraq has been dropped from the ban.
Iraq is an important ally in the fight to defeat ISIS.
Likely in part to avoid the chaos and confusion from the first time around, the new order goes into effect March 16th, not immediately like the original, and it expires after 90 days. It includes specific different language, stating the ban does not apply to green card and valid visa holders. It does not prioritize religious minorities in refugee admission cases and no longer singles out refugees from Syria to be indefinitely banned. Admission for Syrians will, like all other refugees, be suspended for the next 120 days. Democrats aren't buying the changes.
But it's still basically a Muslim ban. It's still a ban based on one's religion.
In Washington, Diane Gallagher.
Your Facebook feed just got an important update. Users may soon be noticing an interesting new flag on some of their posts. After last year's election was plagued by false claims on unreliable websites showing up as news on Facebook, the social media site has announced a new tool that will flag articles that are believed to be misleading or false. When users see a post on their newsfeed that links to a false source, a message that leads to sources that dispute the article also appears. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg says that his company has a responsibility to make sure people are correctly informed.
History is being made at this year's Spelling Bee as a 5-year-old, being the youngest to ever compete, qualifies for the national contest. Edith Fuller, who is homeschooled, beat 50 other children to win the regional competition this past weekend in Tulsa, Texas. She prepared each day with her parents and says it gave her a great advantage leading up to the competition. Her response to when she realized she won was, "I feel thankful."
President Donald Trump continues to use his Twitter as he passes 2 months in office, and this time he's taking aim at the Obama administration. In a series of tweets posted last Saturday to his own personal account, Trump said President Obama had his phones tapped prior to the election. Those within the former administration have denied the claims, and FBI Director James Comey has said the claims made by the current president are false. Trump reportedly has not accepted Comey's assertion.
House Republicans unveiled their long-awaited replacement of Obamacare.
It is Obamacare gone.
House Republicans unveiling their long-awaited replacement of Obamacare.
When we repeal and replace Obamacare, it will amount to the biggest entitlement reform probably in at least the last 20 years.
Central to their bill, the American Health Care Act, the elimination of the individual and employer mandate, a tax penalty for people without insurance. The replacement, a continuous coverage incentive, a 30% surcharge on premiums for consumers for 1 year who let their coverage lapse, levied by insurers. The plan phases out Obamacare's expansion of Medicaid, eventually capping federal funds to the program for each state in 2020. Obamacare subsidies now replaced by refundable tax credits determined by age and income. What will stay? Obamacare's protections of those with pre-existing conditions, and adult children can remain on their parents' plan until the age of 26. Some Republicans are already divided, calling the bill Obamacare 2.0.
I've already heard from some constituents upset about you're creating another entitlement program. We're calling it tax credits that we actually send people checks.
The House Republicans proposing the bill did not offer any estimate of how much their plan would cost or how many people would lose coverage.
The biggest concern I have, will it lower health care costs and premiums to those people that I serve?
The plans will be much less expensive than Obamacare. They'll be far better than Obamacare. It'll be unbelievable.
The White House releasing a statement calling the bill an important step towards restoring health care choices and affordability. Democrats are now gearing up for a fight, rallying against the bill's provision to strip all federal funding to Planned Parenthood, and arguing millions of poor and working-class individuals will lose or be unable to afford health insurance under the plan. Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi calling it the Make America Sick Again bill.
And we'll have the 7-day weather forecast right after this break.
Welcome back to TVM News. It's been raining here in Scranton for the past few days. Let's check in with Sam for the 7-day weather forecast.
Today we have spotty showers that should taper off by later tonight, leaving only a couple of clouds behind, with a 20% chance of a thunderstorm throughout the day. Our current high is 54 degrees and the current low is 37 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny in the morning, but clouds will accumulate by nighttime, eventually leading to some snow later in the evening. The high will be 49 and the low will be 27 degrees. Friday, the snow will continue and things will only get colder with low clouds and some extra flurries that night. The high 37 and the low just 13 degrees. Saturday, a few of the clouds will go away and the snow will stop, but it will stay very cold, high 26 degrees, low 14. Sunday, mostly clear skies throughout the day, but considerable coldness remaining constant. High being 32, the low staying 14 degrees. Monday, things will finally warm up a bit. A few clouds in the morning, followed by snow later that night. The high will be 38 and the low 25. Lastly, on Tuesday, rain, freezing rain. In the morning, some showers in the afternoon, but mostly clear by night. Our final high of 41 and the low 22 degrees. Maybe worth bracing the cold for some stargazing over the spring break. That's all for now. Enjoy your spring break. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Sam. We'll be right back after this short break.
Welcome back to TVM News. Let's check in with Nicolo with Marywood and National Sports.
The Marywood-University women's basketball team saw their impressive season come to an end last Wednesday in the first round of the Eastern College Athletic Conference Division III tournament. The Pacers traveled to Brooklyn Athletic Facility to take on the New York University Violets in the preliminary round of ECAC tournament play. The Violets prevailed by a score of 74-49. The loss meant that the Pacers finished the season with an 18-9 record. Some highlights for the Pacers were Jordan Barth's 16 points and Katie Nealon's 10 points and 7 rebounds. With not a single senior on the roster, the women's team already has their eyes on next year. This Monday, TVM's John Ferraro covered the women's lacrosse home game versus Misericordia.
The Marywood women's lacrosse team pulled a back-to-back this week as they hosted Arcadia University on Sunday, March 5th, and then Misericordia University on Monday, March 6th. In the game against Arcadia, the Pacers kept the pace in the first half. The Pacers were only down 5-4 at the first half buzzer. But Marywood didn't have answers for the Knights' defense in the second half as Arcadia held the Pacers to just one goal. The Knights outshot the Pacers 28-15 for the game as Arcadia would go on to spoil the Pacers Sunday afternoon with a 9-5 road victory. In Monday's game, it was much of the same for Marywood against Misericordia University. The Pacers kept it close in the first half and led 6-5 as Ashley Valle continued her impressive play, scoring 2 more goals. Sophomore midfielder Kylie Witten got into the action as well, scoring her second goal of the season. But the Cougars would shut the Pacers down in the second half by only allowing 2 goals. With the loss, Marywood takes a record of 2-2 into spring break. For TVM News, I'm John Ferraro.
It was another impressive week for the Marywood women's lacrosse team, as John just said. Although the team suffered their first loss of the season against Alvernia in their second matchup of the week. In their first contest, the Pacers secured a 19-5 blowout victory against Mount St. Mary's of New York, and the team dropped a close decision to Misericordia by a score of 10-8 on Monday. The victory against Mount St. Mary's meant that Lauren Smith is now the all-time winningest goalkeeper in program history with 26 wins. The awards keep rolling in for the women as well. Sophomore Michaela DiLorenzo earned the Colonial States Athletic Conference Defensive Player of the Week award, and freshman Gwyneth Gleason was named to the CSAC honor roll. The men's lacrosse team lost a tough match against Stockton University by a score of 10-9. The Pacers' comeback bid fell short after the team trailed 9-4 with 12 minutes and 23 seconds left to play. Vinnie Biancardi made 16 saves for the Pacers, while Austin Mailer added 4 goals. Marywood student athletes in the Athletic Training Club participated in the National Read Across America campaign, or as it may be better known, Dr. Seuss Week. The students read Dr. Seuss books to children at Robert Morris Elementary, Frashoni Daycare Center, and Dunmore Elementary Center. National Football League teams and scouts got a chance to see future NFL players display their talents in a series of drills at the 2017 NFL Scouting Combine. The Combine took place in Indianapolis, Indiana, at Lucas Oil Stadium, home of the Indianapolis Colts. The highlight of the Combine came when former University of Washington wide receiver John Ross ran the 40-yard dash in a new record time of 4.22 seconds. Other items of note included Christian McCaffrey's weak bench press, but second-best three-cone drill in Combine history, and Myles Garrett strengthening his hold on becoming the first overall pick in this year's NFL Draft. This Saturday at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, boxing took center stage. 2 of the best welterweights in the sport of boxing, Danny Swift Garcia and Keith One-Time Thurman, fought a welterweight unification bout. It was only the 10th welterweight unification bout in the history of the sport of boxing. Both fighters were undefeated coming into the fight. The competitors both came out swinging, but it was Thurman who earned a split decision victory on the scorecards. After edging out rounds early by being more active at connecting more than Garcia and playing it safe later in the fight, Thurman took Garcia's World Boxing Council welterweight title and retained his own World Boxing Association welterweight belt. Thurman improved to a record of 28-0 with 22 knockouts, while Garcia dropped to 33-1 with 19 knockouts. That's all for this week. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Nicolo. Grab a glass of milk. Monday was National Oreo Cookie Day. The National Biscuit Company, or Nabisco, first developed the Oreo in 1912. Back then, it was called the Oreo biscuit. It's gone through several name changes over the years, including the Oreo sandwich and Oreo cream sandwich. Today, there are dozens of varieties of Oreos. They are sold in more than 100 countries. I know that my favorite is definitely the golden Oreo with the vanilla cream and the vanilla cookie on the outside.
Yeah, I can imagine the spring Oreos will be out soon too, and the icing is in the color of yellow.
Yep.
And they change it for Valentine's Day too, and then it's red, and they're always changing the colors of the icing.
They just released an Oreo with a peep cream flavor, so that is going to be pretty.
Oh, I haven't tried
Try that one. Always love the excuse me, the double stuff to get that extra.
Yeah, because if it's not double stuffed, then you're kind of getting ripped off.
Yep, I agree. All right. On behalf of all the TVM News cast and crew, thanks for tuning in. Follow TV Marywood on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram for more Marywood-University news.
Have a good week and a spring break. We'll see you when we return from spring break here at 5 p.m. on TVM News.